Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Hi, I'm Sherry from LifeSource Water. Did you know Bay Area cities add chemicals like chlorine and chloramine to disinfect the tap water? On top of contaminants they can't handle, like microplastics and forever chemicals. At LifeSource, we believe your water should support your family's health. Our whole house water system filters every drop that enters your home, delivering clean, healthy water to every tap, shower, and appliance. Family owned for 3 generations, we build every system, install it, and offer factory direct pricing. So end your water worries and upgrade to the essential home appliance you'll love using every day. Drink, bathe, cook, and live clean with LifeSource water. Now we are offering a double dip in savings. Free basic installation plus an extra $250 off. That's up to $1,200 in savings. Call our factory at 1-800-WATER-99 or visit LifeSourceWater.com. Hurry, offer ends September 30.
Warranty limitations apply.
95.3 WBCK now presents Coach's Corner, live from Lakeview Ford. For over 6 decades, this has been your number one source for all local sports information. Coach's Corner is proudly presented by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now, here's your host, Bill Broderick.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, in the big chair once again on WBCK for another week of Coach's Corner. Coming to you live from downtown Battle Creek on the Motor Mile at Lakeview Ford. For more than 60 years, Coach's Corner has been talking to the city high school coaches about the week in sports, and we will continue to do that as we head into next week of the high school football season with our first Coach of the Morning. But first, here's the Lakeview Ford Coach's Corner scoreboard. The big city rivalry game took center stage in Week 3 on Friday night with Lakeview and Battle Creek Central battling at CW Post Field. Battle Creek Central used a big second half to pull away for a 39-13 win. In a key early Interstate Conference clash, defending league champ Harbor Creek went down to Coldwater and came away with a 49-28 win over the upstart Cardinals. Penfield won its second game in a row, beating Buchanan on the road 23-20. Also on Friday, Marshall rolled past Parma Western 41-6. Climax Scots beat Lenawee Christian in a battle of 8-man football powers, 44-42. In other games, Morenci was over Athens 54-0. Galesburg Augusta beat Allegan 37-7. Kalamazoo Central beat Gull Lake 47-19. Leslie shut out Homer 42-0. Portland shut out Olivet 35-0. Union City beat Sand Creek 36-18. It was Potterville 53, Bellevue 6. Camden Frontier knocked off Teconcha 58-8. And Reading beat Maple Valley 28-7. We will be back with our first Coach of the Morning after this commercial. This is Coach's Corner on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner. We're here with our first Coach of the Morning, Coach Brett Vernon of the Lakeview Spartans. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Lakeview was in the game of the week last night. They went downtown to play Battle Creek Central at CW Post Field in the city rivalry game that everyone looks forward to every year. Battle Creek Central came out ahead of that game 39-13. But that game was much closer than the score would appear, especially in the first half. Both teams were going blow for blow early on and going back and forth in a tight game at halftime. And the reason why Lakeview was playing so well early was the way you guys were running the ball with that offensive line and your big running back there. Talk about how you liked you move the ball early on.
Yeah, I thought we were physical up front. We were getting hat on a hat. Austin was doing a great job of finishing runs there. Just starting from our first drive, we did a really good job of starting that first series. But as has crept up all through the year, shot ourselves in the foot in that first drive and had to punt the ball away. They did a great job of when they got the ball, went down and scored. We didn't stop them all night. And that's the difference of the game. They were efficient on offense. Every time they got it, pretty much, they went down and scored. And when we had our chances, we didn't always take the chances of it. We had the one possession that we were down on the goal line, didn't punch it in there. Had another possession that we could have scored off of a long pass, I think. Dropped the ball there. If those things end up happening that way, we're looking at like a 32-28 game in the beginning of the fourth quarter. But just didn't get the obviously execution, and then coaching error on my part. I think down on the goal line, I didn't call the greatest fourth down play there, and that's where I ended up.
Yeah, that seemed to be the key early on for me. It was a close game, 20-13, and could have gone either way at that point. Isaiah Jackson had run a couple of touchdowns in for you in the first half, and was able to get you on the board that way. And then you had the first down on the 3, and you had 4 shots at it and weren't able to get in. Valkyrie Central has a big front line on the defensive line, so you got to tip your hats to them. But that was a huge turning point. Of that, you score that game. The game is much different at halftime, and a different halftime talk, and you come out in the second half with a lot on the line, and Valkyrie Central scores right away in the second half, and then it kind of goes the wrong direction at that point.
Yeah, and again, we still had chances there in the second half. As I told you, we connect on that pass play that was open. That makes it a 32-28 game. Maybe gives us a little bit more life, and but everything comes back down on getting some stops on defense, and we didn't do that. And that was, obviously tough to get back into the game when you don't do that.
What Valkyrie Central was able to do well was the passing game, and then they seemed to do when they needed to come up with big completions to keep drives going, and then you knew that coming in. So what did you see there on your defense that kind of fell short there a little bit?
It still starts with the physicality. You got to be a hammer, not the nail, and too often we're sitting back just kind of waiting for blockers to engage us, and missed a lot of tackles. Missed, but you got to give their players credit. They did a great job of running through some of our arm tackles. We didn't wrap and run like we needed to do, but give their kids credit. They did a great job of continuing their plays, continuing to run, continuing to get extra yards, and it makes a difference in the game.
You had a tough early slate here, and it doesn't get much easier going forward. You played a couple what we think would be playoff teams at Harbor Creek and Grand Ledge, and you lost to Valkyrie Central, a team that's kind of on the rise there last night, and you finally get home next week, and you play Portage Northern. You've been on the road this whole season so far, so playing at home, maybe get a refreshing situation there, turn the page a little bit, and make some things go your way a little bit.
Yeah, it's always nice being at home and getting a home game. Portage Northern is going to be a very tough team. They got a big offense line, physical offense line. Obviously, they got the Greg Patrick kid. That's it's a D1 kid there. They're going to be different offense than what we've seen in the past, because I know they've lost a quarterback to Mona Shores, and so they've kind of changed it around, run heavy offense versus some of their RPO stuff that they've done in the past, and so. Again, we got to be more physical up front, and for us to have a chance, it has to happen.
It's also Hall of Fame week next week at Lakeview. Big game at home for Lakeview, hosting Portage Northern as we get deeper into the season and into the SMAC conference slate there. Thanks a lot, Coach, for coming in.
Yep.
We'll be here with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM right after this.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner, downtown Battle Creek at Lakeview Ford on the Motor Mile. We're here with our next Coach of the Morning here, Coach Robbie Hetton of the Penfield Panthers. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Bill.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. We have a wild one for Penfield last night, and the end result was a victory. Penfield beat Buchanan 23-20, and it was, as we talked about it last night, it was a wild finish. A lot of things happened there in the last few minutes, but the end result being a victory, it had to have you smiling when the all game was over.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. It was a great high school football game. Had a lot of ups and downs. A lot of emotions both ways. And, that's what you want in a high school football game.
Let's talk about those last couple of minutes there. Penfield had a lead for most of the game and then was trying to hold on at the end. And looks like they were looking to score, maybe a go-ahead touchdown. You came up with a big interception to stop them. And then you had the ball deep in your own side of the field, and you're looking to run the clock out and weren't able to do the whole clock out, but so you had to think of a chance to have a little strategy and took a safety there. Talk us through that little moment there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a wild finish, Bill. I mean, we get, it was 23-18 at halftime, and it was that way the whole second half. And then there was about 3 minutes left. We forced them to punt. Ball's down. We're deep inside our own territory, so we're trying to run the clock out, and we get it to 3rd down and 2, and we just mishandled the snap, and we gave them the ball, on their, I think, 15, 16-yard line, something like that. This was with a minute 35 left, and they come out and throw, and Gavin Megg had a huge interception to get us the ball right back after a play. So now there's a minute and 6 seconds left, and so we're trying to run the clock out. They had 2 timeouts left, so we knew we were able to take it down to about, 15, 16 seconds maybe. So we called a timeout, and we do thorough Thursdays, and we put our kids through these unique situations. So it's something we've practiced. So we snapped the ball to Johnny Lake, who was our punter, and obviously they were thinking we were going to punt. So we had Johnny run around the back of the end zone until it was too late, and then he just took it out of the back of the end zone, so we didn't want to take a chance of, getting hit and fumbled. So we ran out of the back of the end zone to make a safety. And then when we lined up, we told our kicker, Garrett Hill, hey, if they're back, boot it over their heads. If they come up, let's squib it. And they came up thinking we were going to squib to run the clock out, and Garrett just booted the ball. After a safety, he kicked it all the way down to the 5-yard line. And they went down and fell on it immediately, which made them have to go 95 yards for any type of Hail Mary. And, we were able to pick off the Hail Mary at the end too. So just a wild finish. Like I said, highs, and lows, fumble and all that. And, then Gavin get us the interception, and Calvin and I were joking, and we said, Calvin owes Gavin a steak dinner for picking that up and picking his teammate up. So.
All right. You had 3 interceptions in the second half as the defense stepped up big in the second half, held them scoreless until that late safety there. Alex Miller, Tommy Wright, Gavin May all had second half interceptions. And talk about that defense and how they had to step up at halftime and make sure that the score stayed the same.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, we were up 23-12 with about 2 minutes left in Buchanan. They just got a big play. It wasn't anything that we hadn't practiced. They just ran a post wheel concept, and one of our DBs jumped the post, and the wheel was wide open. And, and that kind of gave Buchanan some life going into halftime. And then, we come out of halftime, and, it was battle. We had a couple nice defensive stands. We had an injury to one of our young men who ended up getting taken away, with EMS. And there was a big break there, and then that fired the kids right back up. We came out of halftime a little flat, and then that injury kind of got everybody reunited, and we were able to really step up our intensity level after that.
You're able to run the ball real well last night also against Buchanan. Isaiah Eakins-Gray had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns for you. Talk about what was working there in the running game for you.
Yeah, I would tell you, we were the first half. We only ran 13 plays. It was either 3 and out or we were explosive. Isaiah Eakins-Gray runs the ball really hard. It looks like he shot out of a cannon at times. He's got a lot of speed, and he's a pretty physical runner as well. He's not afraid to get the hard 4 or the hard 3 that he needs. But it was just really good blocking from our team. Up front, our offensive line really, Buchanan gave us a lot of different looks last night. They were a very, very well-coached team, a lot of stunting, and we were able to pick those up. So that was a good thing for offensive linemen to see that growth. And then just for our program to face adversity, to come back, we came back. This is the 3rd game in a row we've gotten down first and came back. So it's good to see that this group has, some adversity and some resilience.
That's a big program win also, because that puts you to 2-1. You win 2 games in a row, and things are going in the right direction here for this season. And with a team that's a young team on the roster with a couple key seniors at your core, to go to 2-1 and feel like the season is going someplace, how important is that?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about it every week, Bills. We got to go week to week. Obviously we have goals of making the playoffs. With us being D5, we think we can, get in with our strength of schedule. And we've got to win games. We kind of said going into the season, we really would like to at least go 2-1, to give ourselves a fair shot at the playoffs, in non-league. And now it sets us up to battle our brothers from the I-8. And, we have probably one of the toughest leagues, around. And, it starts off pretty tough for us with Harper and Hastings back to back, but our goal is, again, week to week, control what we can control, do what we can do. We just got to stay healthy and take it week by week.
Yeah, you mentioned that you open Interstate 8 conference play next week. You take on the defending champs right out of the gate. They're not only defending champs, but they're your crosstown rivals at the same time. So that's a game that everyone looks forward to, Penfield playing Harper Creek. Harper Creek is coming off a big win last night, also being another team that looks like they might have a strong I-8 season in Coldwater. So what are you looking forward to when you play a Harper Creek team from what you've seen this year and what you saw in the last few years?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Our coaching staff is going to start breaking down Harper Creek tape today. It's one thing we said this year is we're not going to be looking ahead at all. We're going to take it week by week. So, I'm sure Harper's going to be, big and physical up front, and, they're going to be very well coached and disciplined. And, I'm looking forward to breaking down some tape today, and then, working with our coaching staff to put up a game plan to get ready to play Harper Creek. And, it's probably going to be a big crowd. It's at Harper, and just, like I said, we've got to control what we can control, and we got to do what we can do and what we're taught to do. And, we do that, and, we'll be all right.
It's an exciting game for high school football fans in the area here. A 2-1 Penfield team going to play a 2-1 Harper Creek team on Friday night. That'll be our game of the week next week on WBCK and in the Battle Creek Enquirer. It'll be a lot of fun for everyone to watch, and kind of a nice situation where there's a lot of great athletes on the field all at the same time, with your core seniors there and some of your young guys, and then Harper Creek's young and coming guys that didn't get a chance to play last year during their I-8 championship run, and now are kind of making their way. So it'll be a lot of fun for all the people to watch that game, and looking forward to talking to you next week, Coach, about that.
All right, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here after this on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Lauren Granger of the Battle Creek Central Bearcats. Good morning, Coach.
Always a good morning after a victory.
Yeah, it is, especially when you knock off your city rivals. A big win last night, downtown Battle Creek at CW Post Field. The big crosstown rivalry was on the main stage, and Battle Creek Central came away with a 39-13 win over Lakeview. And how good did that feel last night when you guys were celebrating with your team?
Really good. I mean, those are last night is what Friday night in community is all about. There was a great crowd on both sides. Everything was positive. And, after the week we had, with all the distractions, our community needed something to rally about. And football provides that for your community, sometimes win or lose. Just an opportunity to come together and celebrate things that kids are doing that are really positive. And we had that opportunity last night, and that's what felt best about it.
You have had a tough couple of seasons, but you've been waiting for this young team to mature and grow up, and they seem to be growing up before your eyes a little bit. You're 2-1 with a couple of big wins this year, and that big win over Lakeview kind of really sets you going in the right direction. And you talked last night about how you guys feel like you're on an upward trajectory as a team, and victories like this can really show that you are in the right direction and kind of backs up that idea.
Yeah, Lee Campbell, young guy, continues to impress at quarterback. But, one thing that we did last night that we didn't talk about was we established somewhat of a ground game. We also have a sophomore playing starting running back, Broderick, Jabril, and he rushed for almost 100 yards last night. That's something we've really struggled with in the first couple of weeks, even week one when we had a big win. We didn't rush at the ball as well as we wanted to. So last night we felt like we made progress in being able to run the football. And if you want to win high school football games with any kind of consistency, you have to run the ball. So, those two, just in the 10th grade, should be playing JV football somewhere, but having to step up and fill those shoes, did a great job. Sir Paris, I think he rushed for somewhere around 45 yards, something like that, and he's just a sophomore. So lots of young guys stepping up and making plays, and couldn't be prouder really of the few seniors that we do have, the leadership they showed last night, and kind of pulling their team together, despite everything they went through throughout the week. Joshua McDonald and Xavier Anderson, junior Nathan Kretzinger, those last two were our captains last night, and they're the epitome of staying focused, and their influence was present on the team last night. So proud of those guys for stepping up and leading.
And the way you got it done on the field was a lot of consistent offense. You guys were able to score nearly every time. I don't think you didn't punt until late in the second half. And Lee Campbell Jr., I have to say Jr., his mom stopped me last night and make sure I say Jr. every time I mention his name now. So we'll do that going forward. And like you said, 4 touchdown passes for him, a great night for him. And then that running game backed him up. And, those couple early touchdowns, the one to Joshua McDonald and put you up 13-0 early. Talk about that early start and making sure that you guys are on the board, and then going into halftime with a lead. How important was that?
Yeah, I think it was very important. To be honest with you, I didn't feel like we got an early start, really. I felt, even though we were up at halftime, I felt like we were losing because it seemed like Lakeview had all the momentum for some reason. It just didn't feel good about the first half. And I was glad we had the lead because I was scared that they'd come out in the second half and I felt like they were on the attack at the end of the second quarter. And it looked to me like our defense just wasn't playing very aggressive, and Isaiah Jackson runs the ball really hard. And I just felt like it was one of those points in the game where either we needed to step up or we were gonna let the lead slip. And so, a week ago, we were in Everett, and we were the ones that were down in halftime, and we came out in the second half and played a great third quarter and eventually took the lead. And I warned our team at halftime last night, that could happen to us. The roles are reversed if we don't do something different, because every time we'd get some momentum going, Lakeview would take it back. And, they came out in the second half, played really great defense, and that was really the difference. The offense played great all night long. You mentioned we didn't punt until the fourth quarter, and somebody actually asked me, why are we punting? And I'm like, I don't know, make sure we still can. Because we were very efficient on offense last night. We're kind of, our mentality is kind of take what they give us. from an offensive perspective, and we saw some things that we thought they were giving us, and we continued to attack them, and it worked out for us. So consistency, flow. Mario Brown is calling our offensive plays now, and he did a great job game planning. He had a nice little script he put together to see how they would react to certain things, because early in the season it's hard to know, how they're going to line up to trips in the boundary, for example. And so we did that early to see how they were going to line up, and then we took what they gave us.
Defense that you mentioned started in the first half there. You had that huge defensive stand. Lakeview got down inside the 5 and late, and had a first down and had 4 shots at trying to score. And if they score there, it's a much different game maybe going forward. Your defense stepped up and stopped them, stuffed them for the most part, especially with your interior defensive line. Talk about that stand and how that kind of set the tone the rest of the game.
Yeah, we had to call a timeout there because they marched right down the field and pushed us all over the place that whole drive. And then they get inside the 5, and we called timeout. And we just talked about like the mentality of that. Like how are you going to respond when they're knocking on the door and they just push you all the way down the field? Are you just going to let them continue to push you back in the end zone, or are you going to step up and fight? And especially the guys up front, we really challenge them to. It's your time to step up. You don't have any more time to waste. So they did a great job on that goal line stand. We shifted to a little bit of a different front, also, but. Yeah, they stepped up. That was a great goal line stand.
And that really set things going in the second half. You held them scoreless in the second half coming off of that stop. And just once that kind of gets going, I'm guessing that defense really wanted to keep that going. Once you get a taste of a little second half shutout, they probably had something that, hey, we like this and we want to keep this going.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Every time you get a stop like that, you get confidence, and confidence is what can carry you. And sometimes that's the only thing that's missing. You got the ability, you got the schemes, do you have the confidence that you're going to be able to execute? So that was definitely a confidence builder for them.
So big win for Battle Creek Central, go to 2-1, which is a nice thing to say after going 1-8 last year, and things are going in the right direction. And you got a tough challenge next week at home. It's homecoming for the Bearcats, but you're usually have a little bit different kind of component on your homecoming weekends, but the AD must not have scheduled it very well for you guys at Battle Creek Central.
Yeah, our AD is not very smart. You're supposed to pick a game that you're going to win easily, and that's Portage Central may be the toughest team in our conference.
Yeah, so you're playing one of the toughest teams on your schedule, Portage Central at home, but a confident Bearcats going to Cedar Post Field to try to defend their home turf. And what do you know about Portage Central so far? I know they're big and physical, and they have a lot of good talent.
Yeah, we knew going into the season that they were going to be a special team. They have a couple of kids that are already, I think one's actually committed to a Division I school, and another one that's got an offer, and they're great players. I mean, they are really good. And what we know is, they've front-loaded their schedule and played East Lansing and Forest Hills Central, who are perennial powerhouses in the state, and they beat both of them by 40. They haven't given up a point yet. Now, having said that, those two schools, as it turns out, 3 weeks into the season, they must be a little bit down because they haven't won yet. But you talk about our goal line stand giving us confidence throughout that game last night. Think about the confidence they must have after starting the season 3-0, beating 2 perennial powerhouses the way that they did, and then, what they did to Lakeshore last night, they beat them 57-0. Their defense has got to be playing with a lot of confidence right now. They haven't given up a single point in the season yet. So, yeah, if we want to say our offense is clicking, here's a great opportunity to show that it really is to go score some points on a team that hasn't given up any. And so that's the way we're going to approach it. And every week for us is just an opportunity to show something that we know we can do. And so we'll carry that into homecoming and hopefully give our alumni something to be proud of, and hopefully find a way to pull out a win.
Be a lot of fun for the alumni to come back. Homecoming week for Battle Creek Central at home next Friday at CW Post Field. Thanks a lot, Coach, for coming on down here.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM after this.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner. We're here with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Bennett of the St. Phil Fighting Tigers. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning.
We don't have much to talk about from Friday night because you didn't play Friday night, but that means you have a game tonight at CW Post Field. Saturday night, St. Phil is hosting Litchfield, and that's always a great environment. A Saturday night game at CW Post Field for St. Phil playing 8-man football. Talk about what you're excited about for tonight.
Yeah, I think this is a great matchup for us. Even though we're a bit undersized compared to Litchfield's roster, we've been undersized the first two games, so I think that's going to be kind of par for the course for the season. But we like the matchup. We like how, even though they have a really strong core, we've had 5 days, and our players have grinded throughout this entire week of practice. And putting it into perspective, we told our players at the beginning of the week we had 3 days to prepare for week 1, 3 days to prepare for week 2. We've had 5 to prepare for this. So we've buckled down, and we saw more focus out of our guys during practice this week and execution. And there's just a lot of small pieces of our game that we feel like has really stepped up. And so, yeah, we're excited. I think there's a confidence level and a hunger to win from our guys that maybe we probably haven't seen the first 2 weeks. So, we're getting better, and we like the matchup. So we'll see how we execute and perform.
And those extra practice days, I'm guessing, is huge for a team as young as you guys are. You're playing a ton of freshmen, and getting those extra practice days, getting those games under their belt. They've played 2 games now. They're getting into game 3. Talk about how you've seen the growth of your team so far.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. To have extra practice with younger guys, these first 2 weeks, we're still trying to install. We're still trying to put together some big picture scheme. And so to be able to have the extra practices to work with them a little bit more fundamentally and on individual technique, it's going to help us execute to be able to spend some time on some of those foundational things. And so, yeah, we got to work not just on, hey, game plan, but let's really work on some individual skills. So it was great. It was very beneficial for us. So we're doing well. Yeah.
It'll be a fun night tonight. All you high school football fans, you're looking for something to do tonight, head down to CW Post Field. St. Phil Fighting Tigers are hosting Litchfield in a big 8-player division football game. We're excited to talk about that game next week and the whole week next week with you, Coach. Thanks a lot for coming on down.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM after this.
Results.
Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. The world of fast fashion has complicated clothing production by outsourcing around the world to whoever can sew them the cheapest. And now you, the consumer, are paying the price with rising costs. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. So when you buy from American Giant, you're taking a stand for hardworking people, local communities, and quality clothes. American Giant directly supports American manufacturers and ensures you aren't footing that tariff bill. Support American-made, tariff-free clothing with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.
On 95.3 WBCK, proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Mason Converse of the Harper Creek Beavers. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Bill.
Harbor Creek, who are the defending champs in the Interstate 8 Conference, went on the road against a Coldwater team that had visions of trying to make a run in the conference this year. They've had a young team the last couple of years, but they've made great strides and were looking good coming in at 3-0. And Harbor Creek went down to Coldwater knowing that they were going to be challenged. And Harbor Creek came away with a 49-28 win. And you talked about last night when we chatted that you wanted to make a statement in terms of the I-8 and let everyone know that Harbor Creek is still here on top, and I think you guys did that.
Yeah, well, we definitely did. First of all, Coldwater, they're definitely an explosive program, terrific program, and they came out ready to go and really took it to us to start the game. We went 3-and-out to start the game. They were more physical than us, and our kids were a little nervous and weren't necessarily, I don't want to say ready to play, but Coldwater was ready for it right away, first down. Then they went down and scored in about 3 or 4 plays, and so we're down 0-7 real quick into the game. But our kids settled in and didn't blink, and I'll give credit to the tough challenge of going up to Cedar Springs last week. That really helped us, and we went right back down the field and scored. So our boys didn't blink, came right back down the field, were physical, and we knew, again, Coldwater was explosive. It'd be back and forth all night, and we had some turnovers that helped things go our way in the first half and really got things rolling for us.
Yeah, the early back and forth in the first half turned into a second quarter where you dominated. Harbor Creek scored 28 points in the second quarter and all of a sudden had a 42-14 lead at halftime. Talk about what was going right there in that second quarter for you.
Well, it's one of those quarters where most things are going right and where you can't do anything wrong, it seems like, and that's because of the turnovers. And I really actually think that this game was won last winter and was won in the weight room, and we're fortunate that our kids and our parents have bought into the importance of the weight room and how hard they work, and they've got it every semester, and they're really pushing themselves to be the best version of themselves. And we've got competition at all those levels, and they see each other in the weight room, and it's contagious. And we thought, again, Coldwater is so talented and so long and explosive, but we thought we were more physical than them, and our plan was to go in with just constant body blows and hit them and punish them and see how physical they could be, and that was the difference. Our offensive line really started it out. Actually, Tegan Turnbull started out on the very first opening kickoff where he laid his kid out on the sidelines, and that got everybody going. And then our offensive line is just coming off the ball and making holes that you and I could run through. I mean, Logan Converse, Brock Yancey, Cohen Deskins, Aiden Wynn, Ty Schmidt, Ian Yancey, and Antoine Westry. They're setting the tone with their physical play, and that's what Harbor Creek football is all about. So we talked a lot about last year's line. This year's line is getting it done too, and we had over 400 yards rushing last night. So when we're pounding them like that on offense, and then defense is flying around doing the same thing, creating turnovers, it makes for a good recipe.
Harbor Creek created 5 turnovers in that game, including pick 6. Brock Hibbs had a 37-yard interception return for a touchdown. 5 turnovers is going to set the tone for most games. Coldwater, who likes to throw the ball a lot, some of those were interceptions, some of those were fumbles because you guys were, like you said, hitting them and making them cough off the ball there. A defense that's creating 5 turnovers, that has to be happy to see for you guys.
It's fantastic. It's one of our pillars as far as creating turnovers, and it doesn't always work that way, but I'll give credit to our physical play last night. And the defense, I think I said this already, but they played fast and confident and really quick. And did we make mistakes? For sure. I mean, Coldwater was able to drive the ball on us a little bit in the second half, but we wanted to not give their quarterback, Drayson Foster, if he has time, he can deliver the ball on target, and we didn't want to give him any time. They came out in kind of an empty formation and confused us a little bit because they had a tight end with their empty formation, and we weren't able to get pressure the way we had planned all week, and so we had to bring a little extra pressure. And so it's chess match back and forth between the coaches and moves and counter moves, and that's what makes it fun. But we didn't give him time to throw, and when you don't give him time to throw, he doesn't have time to make long passes, or he has to get rid of the ball fast, and that's where some of those 2 interceptions came from, really. So Brock Hibbs knew it was a 3rd and long. They had to try to hit the sticks, and we brought a different pressure than he had seen, and he was sitting right there and read it the whole way and intercepted it and was going back to the house. So I'm excited for Brock. He's a young man that almost didn't play football because he thought he was too small, and has put in the work for 4 years in the weight room, and he's really seeing it come to fruition now. And that's a great example of how, if you commit to yourself and your teammates, what success can look like.
And then on offense, you guys, like you said, you had 449 yards rushing. Cameron Converse led the way with 106 yards rushing on 8 carries, and Gavin Rice had 93 yards rushing and a touchdown, which is spread the ball around. You also had scores on the ground from Nolan Oakes, Owen Selector, Kamari Hepton, and Avon Hawkins, getting all those guys and grinding the ball a little bit that way. It makes it so Harbor Creek can control the whole game that way, and you need it to because, like you mentioned, Drayson Foster has been having a big year for Coldwater at quarterback. He had 242 yards passing for them. He also rushed for 82 yards for them and had 2 touchdowns through the air and 2 more on the ground. So your running game kept you with the ball and were able to get that big lead, and you're able to hold on.
Yeah, without a doubt. And our backs, we start 3 senior running backs in the backfield with Cohen and Kamari Hampton, or Cohen Selector, Kamari Hampton, and Cameron Converse. And we've got juniors that are hungry, and that's where the competition piece comes in, is we can just bring backs in waves and who are fresh, and when someone needs a break, someone else comes in, and they're all different running styles. And we had 7 of them last night rotating in, and they all did just a terrific job, not only running but blocking for each other. And when they buy in, blocking for each other the way that they do, it can be pretty special. And it was fun to watch last night.
Yeah, looking at the box score last night, no one had really more than 8 or 10 rushes for you from that offensive backfield. So spreading the wealth there keeps you guys fresh and keeps you guys going, and that's how you put up that many points. And you're going to be looking to do that again next week. Turn the page, and then Harbor Creek is going to continue its road through the I-8 conference, and you're going to play a Penfield team that got a big win last night. Penfield comes in at 2-1 into Harbor Creek, and with some confidence, and that's a big win, a big game for everybody in terms of getting everyone excited because it's a city rivalry game. It's an I-8 conference game, and it's a game you have to be excited about and playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Coach Hatton's got things going in a positive direction over at Penfield. They're 2-1, which they haven't been for a couple of years now, and they've got a good group of seniors. And I mean, it should be a physical football game. Like you said, it's a rivalry, crosstown rivalry, and it's what Friday night football should be about in this area. And I'm glad that we get a chance to have these rivalries here in the city still. And it's going to be a great environment. It's at Harbor Creek, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, Penfield has that core group of seniors, and Harbor Creek has the young guys who are seniors now who have been waiting their turn and getting excited for this game. And it's kind of a situation where all those guys know each other because they see each other in town. They see each other on the basketball court. They competed for the I-8 championship in basketball last year, so there's a lot on the line, and everyone's going to be looking for bragging rights in that kind of game. When the emotions kind of get for that kind of game, you like to see that from your team? You try to hold them back a little bit, or you want a real good balance? How do you work that?
I mean, it's always got to be a good balance. You talk about it's an emotional game, but you don't want your emotions to be in charge of you. And I know that's a cliche, but you have to play with emotion, and you have to play physical. And our recipe isn't going to change. And I'm sure Coach Hatton's recipe will be the same kind of thing. It's whoever's going to protect the football, whoever's going to create turnovers. But like you said, our kids have known each other since they were little boys. I mean, we've been playing against Johnny Lake in basketball since I can remember the first travel basketball games going on probably in 2nd and 3rd grade. So it's fun to watch these guys grow up across town from each other. And it is a rivalry, and sometimes it goes too far. But honestly, they're great human beings, and they're all going to be good men in this community someday. And so I'm really excited to see it happen.
Penfield has shown early on that they can do a little bit of both. They can run the ball pretty well. Their running back last night had 200 yards. They've shown that they can throw the ball. Calvin Pazins has had a 4-touchdown game earlier this season. When you get a team like that that's a little bit diverse, what's your strategy in that way? Well,
we haven't put together a strategy specifically for them yet, but we know that Calvin can throw the ball, and he's got a great body as far as quarterback goes. He's tall and he's long and he's got a great arm, and so he sees the field really well, and he's got a great target with Johnny Lake. And then you've got Gavin May on the other side, who I think is going to Saginaw Valley, or he's already signed to Saginaw Valley, and he had a D1 offer from Eastern Michigan, so we know they're going to be formidable. But I like my guys, and we've got we've had the challenge of playing outside this area. We went up to Grand Rapids specifically for that purpose, to get us ready for conference play and be ready for the physical necessities that it's going to take week in and week out in the I-8 league, and we're playing at a high level right now too. So I like where we are, and our boys will show up ready to go for our second home game of the year.
Excited to look forward to that game. Penfield is coming to Harper Creek. It'll be a big crowd. Everyone will get excited for those kind of games, and it should be nothing less than a great matchup in the I-8 and an early challenge for the Beavers as they try to defend their title coming off the game there, and a win over Coldwater, and looking forward to some more fun. And we'll talk about that next week, Coach.
There's no doubt we've got to continue to keep going, because week in and week out in the league, if you slip 1 week, someone's going to take your spot. So we've got to continue to work hard every week. We know we'll get everybody's best shot in order to defend our crown.
Thanks for coming on down here, Coach.
Thanks, Bill.
Before we leave this morning, I want to give a shout out to the newest Battle Creek High School sports fan in the area. My beautiful daughter Bailey and her husband Tyler were busy late last night having a brand new baby girl. As a brand new grandpa for the first time, I can't wait to meet you, baby girl. Your grandma and I are heading to the hospital right now, right after the show gets over, and give you and your mama a great big hug. Love you already. That has been it for Coach's Corner. Thank you for listening to Coach's Corner this morning. We'll be back as we talk next Saturday for another week of high school football. Excited for the big games coming up. We have our game of the week, Penfield at Harper Creek. Battle Creek Central is going to be playing Portage Central. Lakeview is hosting Portage Northern at Hall of Fame night. And remember, St. Phil plays tonight at CW Post Field at Litchfield. And other high school sports in the area, All City Swimming is later today, so head on down to the pool and check that out. Thanks for listening for another week of high school football talk on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. The world of fast fashion has complicated clothing production by outsourcing around the world to whoever can sew them the cheapest. And now you, the consumer, are paying the price with rising costs. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. So when you buy from American Giant, you're taking a stand for hardworking people, local communities, and quality clothes. American Giant directly supports American manufacturers and ensures you aren't footing that tariff bill. Support American-made, tariff-free clothing with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.
Coach, the energy out there felt different. What changed for the team today?
It was the new game day scratchers from the California Lottery. Players everything. Those games sent the team's energy through the roof.
Are you saying it was the off-field play that made the difference on the field?
Hey, a little play makes your day, and today, it made the game. That's all for now.
Coach, one more question.
Play the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.